Hi, I'm Rob, a Washington, D.C. tour guide. The federal government is still shut down. This shutdown has now stretched on for well over a month, and if it doesn't end by tomorrow, it will become the longest shutdown in United States history. I know this has been disruptive for many visitors, so this video is going to be a status update about what's going on here. As a bonus, I also interviewed two others this weekend who were able to share their experience during the shutdown, so you can get a perspective that's more than just mine. I've categorized the things that a visitor might want to do 4 different ways. First are the federal government sites that are closed because of the shutdown. Second are the federal government sites that are open despite the shutdown. Third are the private tourist sites that are open because they are not part of the federal government. And fourth are fun things for a visitor to do, even if they might not traditionally be thought of as tourism. For the first category, federal government sites that are closed because of the shutdown include, but are not limited to, all Smithsonian museums, the National Gallery of Art, the National Zoo, the Capitol Visitor Center and Capitol Tours, the National Archives, the Library of Congress, the U.S. Botanic Gardens, Ford's Theater Museum and the Peterson House, the Washington Monument, Old Post Office Tour, and Arlington House. Right now, many federal employees are furloughed, so any tourist site that requires staffing is closed as a result. The second category are federal sites that are still open despite the shutdown, and these are mostly limited to outdoor sites that do not require direct staffing, like the National Monuments and Memorials and Arlington Cemetery grounds. That said, even with the National Monuments and Memorials, they're open and you can visit, but park rangers are furloughed, so you will not see rangers walking around the park answering questions and taking care of the park, and all ranger-led programming is canceled. In the next category, we have private tourist sites that are not part of the government. There are a lot of museums and historic sites on this list. This is not a comprehensive list, but a few that I would personally recommend include Planet Word, the International Spy Museum, the National Building Museum, the O Street Museum, Phillips Collection, the People's House, Folger Shakespeare Library, and Mount Vernon. Most of these museums are not free and thus tend to get overlooked during non-shutdown times, but they are quite good nonetheless. Private tour companies are also mostly still operating, but now that we're into November, many are wrapping up for the season. Finally, the last category are fun things to do that might not traditionally be thought of as tourist sites. This includes things like live theater, live music, live sports, exploring in famous neighborhoods like Georgetown, or shopping at places like Eastern Market or Union Market. Washington, D.C. is a big city, and even without the federal sites, still has many of the big city things to do. Like I said, over the weekend, I was able to interview 2 of my friends who were willing to share their perspective during the shutdown. So now, let's check those out. So first, I brought in Megan, who is a fellow tour guide, but for the context of this video, we'll be giving her perspective as a Washington, D.C. tourist. So, Megan, you've been here in D.C. during the shutdown. What's it been like from your perspective?
It's been shockingly normal. So full disclosure, I'm here to visit my family. I'm not here to necessarily go and visit the tourist destinations because I've already seen those tourist destinations and nephew needs to be entertained. But I took the Amtrak into Union Station. I had expected to see, I don't know, terrible things when I got off the train at Union Station. It was totally normal. Everyone was happy. Easily was able to meet my sister-in-law for pickup. And then everything that we've wanted to do, all of the restaurants, all of the places that my niece and nephew like to go, all of the parks, they have been open for business.
So you're doing this trip as a tourist, but it sounds like you're doing a lot of local things. And so were you disappointed when you heard that you couldn't go see the Capitol Visitor Center or the National Zoo? Was there anything that you couldn't do on this trip that was part of the shutdown?
Well, so this is actually really funny that you asked me that because we visit the zoo every time I come, and I was wondering why we weren't going to the zoo on this trip, and I didn't know that it was closed. So I do miss the zoo. I am disappointed that I can't go to the zoo. And now I know why they weren't bringing that up. But I have been able to go to Eastern Market, which is like one of my favorite things. Like I mentioned, our favorite restaurants are all still there. We went shopping in Georgetown. Our favorite shops were all open. There was a Levain bakery, which is my favorite bakery. I was able to get a cookie at. So I think with the exception of the National Zoo, everything's been open that I've wanted to do.
And now I'm here with Kaitlin, a fellow DC tour guide. And I'm curious, Kaitlin, from your perspective, what's it been like for the last month during the shutdown? What's tour guiding been like for you?
Tour guides are still working. We are running tours. We are able to interpret sites from the outside and give you history. We're also really knowledgeable about the city, so we can help you build an itinerary, tell you how to get around, make the most of your time. But this is actually a great time to hire a tour guide because we're here to fill in the gaps. And when things get tough, a tour guide can actually show you all the best that the city has to offer outside of the Smithsonian's and the things that people expect to see. And we also let you know what's open and what's not. So for instance, some people didn't know that the zoo is closed, but that's what tour guides are here for, to help you figure all that stuff out and problem solve.
And if someone wants to take your tour?
Go to atourofherown.com. We offer women's history tours in Washington, D.C. We could take you on the mall or we could take you into the neighborhoods, but we will show you all the history that's hidden in the corners of this beautiful city.
And Tour of Her Own is one of my recommended tours for Washington, D.C., and I will leave all of this information down in the video description. Finally, a bit of my perspective. A lot of people have been harmed over the last month by this shutdown. Folks who work in tourism here in DC have been hit pretty hard. TripHacks DC Tours just wrapped up its worst October ever, minus the COVID year 2020. I understand why people don't want to visit right now. I get it. One way I've been thinking about this shutdown is to imagine that you're planning to visit your favorite theme park. But right before your trip, you find out that all of the most popular roller coasters are going to be closed. You can still travel to the park, get a ticket, walk around the midway, eat some food, play some games, and ride some rides. There are still things to do, and you might still have a fun time. But if you had your heart set on riding the most popular roller coasters, then yeah, you're probably not going to be very happy. So if you're wondering about a trip to DC, think of it that way. Can you still come and have some fun? Maybe. But I will say, if you want to watch a real-world experience from someone who visited during the shutdown, Megan recorded a much more comprehensive video on this exact topic. So check out the description for a link and give it a watch.